Hi, my name is Todd, and welcome to the Authentic You Life channel. One of the first things I want to do is I just kind of want to give a shout out to Patreon. I want to thank you guys for actually building out a platform that allows people like myself to bring content to a community and our end users and allow those end users to actually support us. So I want to thank you guys so much for doing that. Second thing I want to do is a shout out to the end users. We're in the process of building this up. But I want to thank you guys in advance for supporting us. The support that we get from you guys, a few of the things that we're going to do is get new equipment. The other thing is that at the beginning of the new year, we have a really cool app that's coming out that will be going on smartphones. And we also have what's called these mastermind groups. The idea that we have is to bring some of the smartest minds from all over the world to be able to come and have conversations and influence these mastermind groups where they can reveal their thoughts about some of the toughest issues that are going on in our world today and allow the mastermind group to kind of break it apart and come up with ideas and solutions for those problems that we have in the world today. So we have some really cool stuff coming down, and so I just want to thank you in advance for your support. Now, who am I, and really what is the Authentic You Life about? Again, my name is Todd. I'm now 44 years of age, and I'm just beginning to live the life I've always wanted. You're like, dude, that's a really long time from birth to figure this out, and I know. But at an early ripe age of 22, I started a career in sales in one of the most competitive industries out there. Still is to this day. It's the copier printer industry. No joke, you better know what you're doing or your lunch will be handed to you. However, if you do know, large checks were not uncommon, and as well, the party scene that went with them. You partied to celebrate. There was so much pressure to perform, and the goal, you got it, was to be number one. And if you were number one, your name was called each month with more money coming your way. Commission checks, bonus checks, money on top of money. Of course, that meant more parties. Before you knew it, the party was no longer about celebrating, it was about releasing. I, at the time, didn't have an understanding of what that was. It in turn took me on an unexpected turn down a rabbit hole. On top of the fact, I was newly married, and shortly after we were married, we had a baby on the way. I was still dealing with some internal unsolved issues from my teenager years, and all of a sudden I'm trying to detach from a sick reality I didn't want to no longer want to be a part of. So through the events that I'm going to explain, starting in 2000, I suddenly have this experience of a drug-induced feeling of death. After a trip to the hospital, many doctor appointments, and many tests later, I'm diagnosed with this thing that's called a panic disorder. I spent the next year in my house, literally like a prisoner to this disease, afraid of almost everything, including myself. I was taking prescription drugs, but they only made things worse. You can only imagine where that leads. Of course, more of everything else. So for the 15 out of the past 20 years, I was in this game of drug addiction, alcoholism, on top of fighting this panic disorder. This is life and death stuff, and I was over all of it. This never-ending cycle of a chaotic lifestyle led me to bottom out in the fall of 2012. I, my wife, and my 2 kids were living in a flea and roach-infested RV in Mississippi. By this time, I'm doing a half a gallon of vodka, a case of beer, and smoking marijuana daily. Having to wake up literally every 2 to 3 hours to do shots of vodka so I could go back to sleep just from the shakes. There were still many trips to the ER. My gallbladder was failing. I was diagnosed with the beginning stages of cirrhosis of the liver. My family was watching me drink myself literally to death. There was nothing anyone could do until October 3rd, 2012. Somewhere in the middle of this chaos I was in, I woke up. Now, I was raised in a family of faith. On that day, I had a moment alone with the Spirit of truth, infinite intelligence. And I fully understood it was time to rise up and get out of the mess of the life I was living. The long and short of it, that day I went to detox, nothing short of a miracle. I was there for 7 days, and that was the craziest 7 days of my life, seriously. If you've done any type of detox, you understand what I'm saying. I then went into an outpatient therapy. All they wanted to focus on was the negative stuff, and really never tell me what or why my body was doing or experiencing emotionally, biologically, mentally, or anything else to explain why I was functioning the way I was as a person. The usual answer was, take more meds, which I was done with all of that. I'm like, no thank you. I did that already, and that did not work. I needed something that was actually going to work for me. Not just numb my issues, but actually take me to a place of no return from my issues. And that's where my journey began. Looking for truth and a way of understanding what the heck happened and how can I get my life back? Welcome to the Authentic You Life. What I found over the last 5 years has raised my deadness back to life again. Physically, emotionally, financially, mentally, and with my relationships. What I've discovered is that these lessons can be embraced by everyone. Listen, you don't have to be at the point I was to embrace these lessons. What most people don't realize is that through events in life, we get stuck in patterns. Patterns of the way that we think, the way that we feel, the way we act, and of course the way we're living. The Authentic You Life is a journey to unfold in the ultimate self-care guide. This is in no way just about addiction. This is about providing the keys to understand how your body works emotionally, mentally, biologically, and if you understand this, you can actually take back control and put a playbook in place to become emotionally healthy, have clear thinking, and prevail in every life situation that comes your way. Let us step out of the shadow of fear and let's take hold of our lives. Now, your government's not going to help you. Your church is not going to help you. In most cases, your family members have no idea what you're talking about. But we do. We have the blueprints here. And we're going to share those blueprints with you. This is our opportunity. When I look into the future, just like when you should be looking into the future, it should be the greatest opportunity of our lives. We live in the most exciting times. We have some of the best knowledge that we've ever had in all other generations. This is our time. And I'm going to say this. I honestly believe that the millennial generation has got the biggest bad rap that I've ever seen. In my view, they're the generation that turns everything. They're the turning point. They have something that no other generation up until this time has had. And I believe wholeheartedly the way to unlock that is to further have an understanding of who you are and how you operate. And in doing so, you will catapult us going forward. However, this can only happen by understanding the blueprint of our design. Once we understand our blueprint, we can effectively build our lives to live productive, fulfilled, extraordinary lives. So, we can be successful with purpose, we can be authentic, and we can have the experience of a lifetime. On top of understanding who you are, the biology of how you operate as a human, we're going to also teach you the 13 steps to become extremely successful. These are the same steps that some of the most greatest men and women that have ever lived followed and contributed their success to. No games, no gimmicks. This is about how to build real lasting success no matter what it is that you want to do. Because the truth is, there's a million ways to make $1 million if that's your goal. Now, walking on hot coals to get rid of your fear has no scientific basis, as one of the self-help coaches did, which in return hurt a lot of people. We don't do crap like that. This is 100% scientifically proven, and we're going to give you the references to check it out yourself. So, if you're part of a government, if you're a CEO, a diplomat, entrepreneur, doctor, lawyer, Wall Street executive, salesperson, secretary, stay-at-home mom and dad, or someone that is homeless, this is for you. If you are really ready to live, I mean really ready to live, to be really productive, you're going to get the blueprints here to make that life happen for you. We're going to give you the blueprints to your life to become successful in whatever it is that you want to do and become. And just like an architect can interpret and articulate the blueprints to the structures being built, with the human givens, we're going to do the same thing with you. We're going to give you the tools to interpret the blueprints to how your body, your mind, and your spirit operate. How we were born with an innate knowledge that if we don't use or fulfill, our system comes crashing down. Most people don't even know that. This is what is necessary to live a successful life. We are then going to walk you through how all the material actually links themselves together and how they can empower us to become the best version of who we are. How by understanding the blueprint and following the known sequence to build that anyone and everyone can and will be successful in their pursuit. So you notice right here, the 9 emotional needs by human givens. Each one of these emotions is something that we need to have healthy emotions. It's everything that we crave. It's the innate knowledge that we were given when we were born. So security, autonomy, attention, emotional connection to other people in a larger scale, intimacy and friendship, it's your close network, status, privacy, a sense of your own competency and achievements and meaning. Now look, these are the 9 basic motives by a gentleman named Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill was the forerunner in the 1930s about the philosophy of success. Now look, self-preservation, financial gain, love, sexuality, desire for power and fame, fear, revenge, freedom of body and mind, and the desire to create. Now look at them together. You see how they fit each other? We're going to take each one of these and we're going to break them down. We're going to show you how these matter in your life and how they bring a healthy lifestyle. It brings healthy emotions that will empower you to be the best version of yourself. On top of that, we're going to bring the 13 steps of living an extremely successful life. And the combination of the two is going to be your blueprint, is going to be your guide to become so successful that you'll begin to change the world that you live in, because that's our mandate. So I'm asking, kings and queens, will you rise?